Bring you down to the feature match. The players are ready.
Of course, we're watching Modern.
Okay, we're going to start with Modern. And Caleb, yeah, he's still playing Bant Spirits.
Why change?
All right, so we have for Tan and Grace, Caleb Durward and Brennan DeCandio. They're on Grixis Delver, Bant Spirits, and Grixis Energy. Their opponents, the team of Steven Nowakowsi, Cameron Lantz, and Jeff Folinus, playing Grixis Delver, Burn, and Grixis Energy. So we have 2 Grixis mirrors. Ryan, sorry to say that we're covering the other match.
There are 4 Grixis decks in this feature match, and we're watching 0 of them.
Turn 1 Goblin Guide shows Maelstrom Wander, right? Maelstrom Wander, right? That's the name. There we go. On Caleb's side. Bant Spirits. We did see a Bant Company deck do very well last weekend, but this one's really...
I don't know if anybody other than Caleb has actually built this deck.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, in the finals, we had Michael Cortez playing Bant Company, a very different deck. So Sister and Goblin Guide swing Path to Exile will take care of the Goblin Guide after the trigger. Shows Noble Hierarch on top of the deck.
This has been a pretty solid start. Winning the roll, usually important for Burn, and certainly in this matchup.
Yeah, and with that Lava Spike, too. So Caleb takes the hit of 2 from Swift Spear, goes down to 13.
Any matchup where Searing Blaze is good,
yes,
and you come out of the gates like this, you gotta feel good about your odds.
Yeah, and we talked about that a bit going into this, how some of the top unfair decks that people are wanting to play right now in Modern are Burn, and actually just traditional Tron has really picked up. So to beat that, you can play a fair deck, but you want to maybe be Searing Blaze proof, and Caleb certainly isn't.
Right. It doesn't have too much interplay. Mausoleum Wanderer can counter it sometimes.
Noble Hierarch, Mausoleum Wanderer, yeah, not Mausoleum Wanderer. The 1/1 Spirit. It's your Judge's Familiar for the deck. They're going to take a look at it, and we will as well.
Slight upgrade to Judge's Familiar. It's both has a relevant creature type, an ability to get larger, and is mono blue.
It's 1/2 fewer Pro Tours, though.
That's exactly right. Judge's Familiar, just standard All-Star.
Lava Spike again, Caleb down to 10. Swift Spear will prowess to a 2/3. It will swing. This should force some sort of block. And he'll play Eidolon of the Great Revel. Maybe no block. No, Caleb took the hit. He went down to 8.
Yeah, he just didn't really, he would have to be chump blocking.
Yeah, he wasn't ready to do that.
Likely he wants this Noble Hierarch mana, possibly a Collected Company on the next turn.
Company would be great, because then he can get around this Eidolon, but really that's about the only card he has that gets around Eidolon right now.
His 4th mana source, Temple Garden, that's going to enter the battlefield tapped.
Yeah, at 8 with an Eidolon play, you just can't shock for that.
Caleb has a Spell Queller or 2. That could be really nice.
Looks like he does. He has something here. It's Drogskull Captain.
That is the less good blue-white 1 spirit.
Yeah, he goes down to 6. It does give his other spirits 1/1 and hexproof. So Caleb's company deck tends to be pretty good against removal and against fair decks. It has a lot of value. Things like Drogskull Captain are good. But in this matchup, Drogskull Captain's just going to play out like a 2/2 for 3. It's positioned all wrong.
Yes. If you can company into 2 copies.
Okay, but even then, I could see him losing. You see here, Eidolon of the Great Revel, cast again by Cameron.
Yeah, now Caleb's not going to be able to cast too many spells here.
Yeah, he can cast exactly 2 spells here.
Right, as many Collected Companies as he can draw. But that's really going to be all he wants to cast from here, as Cameron's last card is a Lightning Helix.
Yeah, swing of 2 in the air. There's a Phantasmal Image in Caleb's hand. So frequently you'd see Image plus Drogskull Captain being kind of the combo here, but he just can't do that in the face of these Eidolons.
Right.
He has to just stop casting spells and hope that this Drogskull Captain finishes the job before Cameron can draw 6 points of burn. And we already see a Lightning Helix in Lance's hand. The other card is a Searing Blaze, so it's 4 points of burn right now, and he can't even cast them both. There's a bit of a reprieve.
Right. Doesn't have enough cards in hand to have lands to cast both of those.
And hold up, there is a Collected Company in Caleb's hand.
And he has the mana up for it. There's some incentive for Lancers to attack with all the creatures here, but there's a very real chance that he loses the game on the spot if Caleb does have Collected Company.
And thanks to that Drogskull Captain, the Mausoleum Wanderer is a 2/2, which means it actually spell pierces instead of just making him pay 1 more, so he could actually counter a burn spell.
Got that high 2 Innistrad block synergy.
Yeah, Caleb didn't cast the Company. Just untaps, plays his land.
Possibly sitting on it because he wants to be able to spell queller something, and he thinks that that's the only way he can win this game. Or maybe he's trying to get Cameron to attack. If Caleb didn't have the Company last turn, you know.
Yeah.
It's very juicy. There's a good spot to cast it if he did have it.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was thinking this game was going to be a walk in the park for Cameron Lantz, but he's stalled out at 6, and Caleb may be ahead. Here's Lightning Helix. Cameron will take damage, and a Company in response from Caleb.
And we'll see what he's able to hit. There's a good mix of spirits here. I see 2 Rattle Chains, another Mausoleum Wanderer.
This deck, I like all the cards in it. I mean, this is going to be good enough, too.
Unfortunately, Caleb is not a spirit himself, so he cannot Rattle Change himself, but he should be able to Mausoleum Wanderer through this Helix.
Yeah, he's going to get Mausoleum Wanderer and Phantasmal Image. I really like this pair because the Wanderer gives him another counter spell, and the Image, thanks to Drogstall Captain, is going to give him just some power in the air, really.
And now all of his non-Noble Hierarch creatures will be hexproof, assuming that he copies the Captain. Could copy the Wanderer.
Yeah, he might just want even more Wanderers, just counter all the burn. We'll confirm what he's copying.
Given that he sacrificed Wanderer, there's just no way that the Image is on a Wanderer.
Image is on Captain. Confirmed here from our table judge. So the Wanderer will be sacrificed, Lightning Helix is countered, but even though it's countered, Cameron still takes damage off the Eidolons. And with 2 Captains here for Caleb, he's got a turnaround of about 1 turn.
Cameron might have needed a land for this Searing Blaze on that draw step, and he drew some kind of spell.
Yeah, I mean, first he needs it to deal 3, and second he needs to be able to pay for the Wanderers. But the Wanderers now are at 3. They're just counter spells.
Yeah, and he suppose he would have only been able to get in for 5 even if he had that.
Yeah. Confirm our life value of Cameron down to 8. He was at 12 previously and took the 2 triggers off Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Like the way that Caleb played this, being able to leverage that Collected Company as a counter spell.
Yeah, that was really nice. There's a Skullcrack, Searing Blaze, and you look at Cameron's side and you think, man, what went wrong here? He had a great start, you know, double 2-drop, double 1-drop, double Lava Spike, and the burn to finish it off, but somehow that just doesn't add up to 20, and Caleb Durward will take the first game here.
And now Cameron's going to have to win 1 on the draw here. Be able to play for game 2, of course, he has to win that one first.
Yeah, impressive stuff. Caleb, of course, you mentioned really the only player who plays Bant Spirits, but he knows what he's doing with the deck.
Most definitely.
All right, they're going to be in the sideboards. We will talk about the sideboards when we come back. We'll be back in just a minute. And we are back here with coverage of round 2 of the Philadelphia Open. Now, Caleb had won the first game here, Bant Spirits, when we left, and his teammates decided to follow suit. Tannen Grace and Brennan DeCandio both won their Grixis mirrors. So 1 game apiece for all players concerned.
Good strategy, winning all the games.
Winning all the games.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at some sideboard options here. I want to look at Burn, because this is a weirdo matchup. And you know, when you're not always sure which you want to board in. So he's got 4 Destructive Revelry, 2 Deflecting Palm, 2 Exquisite Firecraft, 2 Core Firewalker, 2 Paths to Exile, 2 Searing Bloods, and a Grim Lavamancer. I believe he already has 1 in the main, so this would be the second one. One
of the biggest mistakes that you see Burn players make is over sideboarding.
Right.
So I want to look at the slam dunks. Grim Lavamancer, the 2 Searing Bloods.
Yeah, so we have Selfless Spirit, we have Maelstrom, or Mausoleum Wanderer. It's a little cheaper of a card than Maelstrom.
The first Drogskull Captain.
Yeah, the first Drogskull Captain. There are targets. Grim Lavamancer should be good there.
And then you go into some of the more dicey options, the cards that I don't think you want to bring in, but you could. Path to Exile is reasonable, having more things that deal with Spell Queller. You want to get the card out from under the Queller. So it makes sense to be interactive. And Searing Blood, of course, can't kill Spell Queller. And then Exquisite Firegraph's interesting. It's generally good against blue decks, but I think it's less good when they're a creature-heavy blue deck, so I'm not super into that one.
Yeah, now on Caleb's side, he's got... I just like how Caleb... You know, Magic changes, but Caleb just kind of keeps playing Caleb's cards. He's got a Rox Warmonk in the sideboard. I haven't seen that registered in about 5 years. It's probably good against Burn.
Yeah, that's really going to be his card here. Not really much else you look at. Negate is another option.
You know, when that card came out, people were the talk was, wow, this is so pushed. It was next to Woolly Thocturn, thinking, I can't believe that you just get a 3/4 for 3, and it has upside. What were they thinking?
That was a big legacy card for a while.
Yeah.
Bant Natural Order.
Right. So then creatures got better. You know, Rox Warmonk, you line it up next to Bramaz, for example, and you're like, oh, I'm not sure Warmonk's better anymore.
And Warmonk stayed the same.
Right. And Caleb's still playing it.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a fine card. Not a spirit, to my knowledge.
No, it's an elephant.
Little off theme.
All right, Cameron on the play again. It looks like he has a 1-drop. Last game he curved Goblin got into Swift Spear Lava Spike. Just about as good as you can do.
He's going to need to do better, though.
Yeah.
That was a game that he did lose. It's a little flooded on 2-mana spells at the end there.
Yeah, 3 lands and a bunch of 2-mana spells. So he was never able to double spell. He couldn't empty his hand before Caleb had counter spells up. Looks like Monastery Swift Spear will be the start here, so Caleb will go down to 19. And land and a pass for Caleb.
If possible, Caleb would, of course, like to find a basic land right tapped.
Right.
Duel off of this.
Another swing for 1 for Cameron. He'll pass. He's got Searing Blaze in hand, but Caleb didn't make a creature. So he's going to go for Eidolon. Now, there's not a 3rd land in Cameron's hand yet, so he may once again be stuck in that situation where Searing Blaze needs help.
If there's no creatures, though, forget about it. Just keep attacking with
yeah,
these
if
ones.
Caleb doesn't play creatures, Cameron's probably fine.
I don't think that's going to hold true for very long, though.
Eidolon in play. That could deal a lot of damage. Caleb is not, despite the fact being a tribal and 31 creature deck, he's not actually an Aether Vial deck, so he has to cast most of his creatures into a card like Eidolon.
Right. Yeah, this specific interaction does hurt him. Because of 4 Rattle Chains, you kind of have a lot of the same effect that you would get by playing Aether Vial.
Right.
Not the mana reduction, obviously, but just being able to play on your opponent's turn.
Yeah. Yes, if you aren't familiar with the Spirits deck, the 4 ofs, you have Noble Hierarch. That's just a glue in a Bant deck. But then your Spirits are Mausoleum Wanderer, Rattle Chains, Geist of Saint Traft, Selfless Spirit, Spell Queller, Drogskull Captain, and Phantasmal Image.
That one not a spirit. It becomes a spirit.
Becomes, yeah. It's,
but it is an illusion.
Which is different than a spirit.
Right.
Spirits are real, see, and illusions are fake. I always like the illusion mechanic. You poke them and then they go away because they're not real. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Land and swing for Cameron Lantz. Caleb has just played lands so far. No spells. I believe he has a Path to Exile.
So he's wisely not casting spells because of Eidolon.
Yeah, he will Path Eidolon, so he takes 2, well, both ways.
Right. But this way he won't take further damage.
Yeah. Takes the 1, he'll go, so goes to 14 off the spell, 15 off the spell, 14 from the Swift Spear.
And now we're kind of seeing a lot of lands for Cameron. Not triggering Prowess there and not casting a creature is a bit surprising. Possibly they left a point of damage on the table there.
Hallowed Fountain shocks Caleb down to 12. And then casts Geist of Saint Traft. So with Cameron bringing himself down to 16, there's potential for a counter race. Boros Charm, though, will send Caleb to 8. And Caleb's got to be in a... This is not a good spot for him.
Right. This Geist is on blocking duty very quickly.
Yeah, he may not survive the turn. I mean, you can't block on the Swift Spear, though, can you? Right? Yeah, Caleb just says take it. If he blocks, he'll lose. It'll Prowess.
Yeah, it's just kind of hope that Cameron's up to nothing.
Yeah, so Caleb down to... Well, he says no blocks. I believe...
My estimation is his life total will be zero or less.
Feeling like it.
So there are two
Some nodding
Searing
from
Blaze.
Cameron. Yeah, don't need him. Here's 6 points of burn, 2 more prowesses. That puts Caleb to -1.
Not a healthy life total.
And we're going to go to a 3rd game. Cameron Lantz takes that one.
Now for the really hard part. Lantz has to win one on the draw.
Yeah. We do look at that. It felt like the fact that Caleb is a mostly creatures deck. So Spirits has good interaction, but it is almost all creatures, and they're not that good at racing. It felt that he was slow and not able to interact enough to make up for that fact.
Yeah, Lance's hand was a little messy. The hand in game 2 was a lot better.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he can put together a win in the 3rd game. We'll be back with that full game in just a minute. All right, welcome back here. So we will come up with our conclusion here of Cameron Lantz versus Caleb Durward. Caleb Durward going to be on the play. So each game, we've actually seen Cameron Lantz draw at least one copy of Searing Blaze, which we think would be a great card in the matchup. He hasn't cast them yet.
Never had a target in game 2. Never had a problem not being able to cast it. In game 1, lined up a lot worse. Never had a landfall to meaningfully cast it.
It's like a mulligan here from Lantz. On the draw, that can be fine. Burns not a deck that wants to mulligan too much. It's hard.
Though the deck also kind of faces some card quality concerns on the draw. It's a lot harder to leverage your Goblin Guides and your Monastery Swift Spears. Certainly your Eidolon on the Great Revels.
Yeah, I certainly in matchups against unfair decks, we had a match where I was playing Burn and you were playing something that was embarrassed my deck.
Yeah, you died fast.
Yeah.
That was a fun match.
I cast all the cards on the turn that their mana cost would suggest that I should cast them, and then I lost horribly.
Yeah.
Caleb's not going to do that to him.
No.
Caleb's also just paying mana for his spells.
Collected Company gets you a little bit above what you're paying.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but then, yeah. Then again, you're paying 2 mana for 2 ones, so it all evens out.
Right.
No rattle chains.
Sometimes he gets 2 2s and 2 3s.
Ooh.
Spell Queller's in a pretty sweet spot for the burn matchup. The
Yeah.
ability to exile a spell, and it just blocks all of the creatures in the burn deck.
Yeah, and especially because he's got Drog Skull Captain and Rattle Chains. It's
Right.
just, that makes it even sweeter.
It is vulnerable to Searing Blaze and Lightning Bolt, but yeah, like you said, Caleb has some counterplay to that. Any matchup where Spell Queller just blocks profitably, it's so good. Lance got a little ahead of himself.
All right, Wanderer, turn 1 for Caleb. A great card, really, in this matchup. We saw how good it was in the first game. Cameron, though, he's got a lot of Wonder-Ups. Here's Goblin Guide. We'll show Rattle Chains, so that's going to swing in for 2. Caleb goes down to 16.
That's like a Doomblade for this Goblin Guide.
Yeah, all right.
The blue Doomblade.
Here's Selfless Spirit and a swing. That's all. There's a white Doomblade for it, if you'd rather.
So many options.
Some decisions for Cameron. He's got a second land in hand, got a Swift Spear, and then a bunch of 2 mana spells.
Pretty creature-heavy draw. Looks like he has an Eidolon and a Swift Spear. Obviously can't cast both this turn.
Skullcrack, Boros Charm, Lightning, Helix, Searing Blaze, Swift Spear, land.
Really would prefer to have one of those 2 mana spells just be Lightning Bolt or even Lava Spike.
Yeah, so that he could find a window to make the Swift Spear.
Just
Yeah.
Swift Spear, 1 mana spell, attack you for 4.
Yeah, right now, that would be ideal. I think he's got to just, as a nod to his mana efficiency, just start casting 2 mana cards and hope that later.
Ooh, and you can see it on Lance's face. He just walked that Searing Blaze on the Wanderer, and that just did not work out.
Yeah, Caleb just immediately countered it. He was trying to Searing Blaze Selfless Spirit. Now remember, Searing Blaze is actually templated in a way that even if you sacrifice the Selfless Spirit in response, Caleb would still take 3.
Yes. However, if you counter the spell,
Counter the spell, then you're good.
nothing takes any damage.
Caleb draws Botanical Sanctum off the Goblin Guide trigger and then trades the board away, and he passes with 3 mana up. You know, sure looks like he could have Spell Queller, and wouldn't be bad.
Would be pretty nice to still have that Searing Blaze in hand in the face of that.
Yeah, because then he could make Swift Spear, leave up 2 mana, swing, and then say, all right, you want a Spell Quell? Go ahead.
Looks like he does still have a Lightning Helix, though, so he has some play.
Okay, so he'll make Swift Spear, and now we'll see what Caleb wants to do. What I'm interested in is if Caleb takes this, if Cameron is willing to deploy anything else.
There's some interesting options if Caleb does have the Spell Queller. You can put the Swift Spear under it, you can try to block, you can hang out for a better target.
Caleb's playing this really well. He takes 1 and goes to 13. I don't think he actually has the Spell Queller.
It looks like he's flush with Rattle Chains. That one would be a very aggressive attempt at a block.
Yeah, Cameron's going to go for a post-combat spell. He would get blown out if there was Spell Queller, but I don't believe it's there. So he's got an Eidolon of the Great Revel in hand, which could be pretty good. But then again, you look at the life totals here, right? 14 on Cameron, 13 on Caleb. Cameron, if he starts to make eidolons, he has to be concerned that he's not winning the race.
Right, and Caleb very likely just respond with the rattle chains, take no damage off the trigger, start racing back.
Oh, he does have the Spell Queller, and so he'll hit the eidolon.
Even better.
Yeah, that's a huge.
And now he just has all these rattle chains to block for the Spell Queller.
Yeah, man, I guess Cameron, when he makes that play, he was just basically acknowledging that he couldn't beat a Spell Queller because he knows there's a rattle chains in Caleb's hand. He saw it off a Goblin Guide.
Right.
So this card's not coming back, and both players know it. I mean, Caleb can protect it in so many ways. Here's Selfless Spirit and a rattle chains hand. I mean, no, the eidolon's gone.
This is going to be a really tough spot for Cameron to get out of.
Yeah, and you see, look at the confidence here. Caleb has a 2-3 blocker, and yeah, he attacks with it.
Well, he's just going to have so much power on the following turn. He's going to be untapping with 4 as it stands. I like him cracking the fetch land here, so he doesn't have to crack that and then cast rattle chains. This lets him just cast the spell if he has to respond to something.
Because the other option, right, there would be a problem if he didn't crack his fetch land now that Cameron could use 2 kill spells to actually muck up things. If he could respond to the fetch land trigger. And some extra pressure now thrown into this game. Brennan DeCandio over on the standard table is a 2-0 winner over Jeff Folinus, which means if Caleb gets this game, the match will be complete.
And Caleb, pretty fancy collection here. You don't see many white-bordered Guru lands.
Do you have to do that by yourself? Do those exist?
They don't exist.
Nice. I've been trying to figure out, and tweet at me, at MTG Matthias. If you have a sweet, but you know the new the unstable lands. I want to white border those. I want one that looks really good. If you have an idea, or if you have one, if you have a picture of one, tweet it to me.
Please don't tag me on that thread. I will block you.
I don't know if it's just the border, or whether you should be doing like different parts of it. You know,
what if you just
how you should
whited out everything but the name of the land?
I don't think that's legal.
It's got to be recognizable art.
Well, also I mean, what we're not trying to make them ugly. Come on, this is just we're improving them. Why would I want to get rid of the art?
What if you made it white bordered and then also added the frame for the text box instead of taps for mana?
That'd be kind of neat. Here's an attack with Monastery Swift Spear. Caleb continues to take hits off it. I like this.
Yeah, there's no reason to put a 2-1 in front of the 1-2 with prowess.
Yeah, well, he's winning the race.
Right. Yeah, it's generally going to be a chump block if it even happens.
All right, so no blocks but before damage is where we are right now. Looks like Cameron's going to try to dump some more spells out. Lightning Helix. I assume this is just upstairs.
It's got to be.
You should be done fighting over these creatures. So Caleb down to 9, Cameron up to 14 prowess on the creature.
He has a Boros Charm, too.
Boros Charm, Caleb down to 5.
It's going to be 2 in a second. You cannot cast Path to Exile off of blue, green, blue.
Caleb down to 2. Okay, maybe we still have some game. Here's Rattle Chains. Caleb untaps. A draw. He's got Mausoleum. Maelstrom. Goodness.
Mausoleum Wanderer.
He's from the cemetery. He's a spirit. Come on now.
Mono blue creatures are not of the Maelstrom.
No, he's living. It makes sense. It's the flavor, right? He's at the cemetery. He's at the mausoleum.
Yeah.
Caleb can win in 2 turns, but yeah, he's taking a lot of burn here.
We've seen him play a lot of this match where he acknowledges that he can't beat specific things. In game 2, we saw him say, all right, if this Geist is good, I'm going to win. If it's not, I'm not, so I'm not going to block.
Yeah.
I'd expect to see him take an aggressive stance here.
Well, he has to. He just can't beat the Tap Dex Burn spell. So here's a swing for 6 from Caleb. It's going to knock Cameron down to 8. And this may not matter. If I have the report correct, Tannin Grace on the Legacy table is also a 2-0 winner. But we want to see whether Cameron gets it. They can do that. He's going to attack.
I think he's looking at a land in his hand.
Okay, then Cameron's down to 8.
Caleb has 2 spirits and a Rattle Chains in play.
Yeah.
Rattle Chains, of course, gives other spirits flash.
Yeah, that's nice. Flash is in a Wanderer. Any response? He's going to hold on to priority, it looks like.
Ooh.
And Lightning Helix with it on the stack. Okay, so Cameron Cameron got it, but it's not. Doesn't actually matter. His team still loses, but he can hold his head high. He defeated Bant Spirits. He won the only games that his team won. His two teammates both losing 2-0. So the team of Tan and Grace, Caleb Durward and Brennan DeCandio are your winners. They are the